morning, guys. Today we're going to work more on the quadratic formula. I'll go over it again with you slowly and then I'll let you practice one. So, I am on packet 12. I am on page 6 if you've numbered correctly. Find the page now. It says practice solving using the quadratic formula. I crossed out number 1. We already did number 1, so I'm going to show you number 2. You have your steps in your notes, and I also sent you a video. This video will be just a little bit of a review. So, in order to solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula, which I wrote up here, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That formula will always be given to you, and you'll be able to find it in the back page of your reference sheet of your Regents exam. Now, step 1 is to make sure the equation is equal to 0. So starting with number 2, x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. It is already equal to 0. So what I just want to do here is label. My a is 1, my b is 2, and my c is negative 1. A is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the constant, the number which does not have a letter. Once I determine my a, b, and c, I begin to plug in. I just plug it right into my formula. X equals, and my formula is negative b, which is negative 2, plus or minus the square root b squared, which happens to be my b term, 2 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, and c, which is negative 1. And that's all going to be over 2 times 1, which is 2a. Now, the only thing you have to do, make sure whatever you plugged in is in parentheses. The only thing you're going to put in your calculator is what I have highlighted here. You leave the radical. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to rewrite it as x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root. When I put this in the calculator, this whole thing, what I happen to come up with is 8. And that's all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Now, this is simplest radical form. If I ask you to solve these, I would get negative 2 plus the square root of 8 over 2. And I would get negative 2 minus the square root of 8 over 2. When you plug these in to the calculator, this one and this one, those are in simplest radical form. Make sure we always write x equals. If I plug them into the calculator, in this instance, I'll round them. Why don't we round to the 10th? So when I put the first one in the calculator and round to the nearest 10th, I get 0.4. When I put the next one in the calculator and round to the nearest 10th, I get negative 2.4. So my circles are rounded to the nearest 10th, and my boxes are in simplest radical form. It depends on how they ask you to find the equation. Decimals, fractions are all fine. Okay? Now what I want you to do is pause this video, and I want you to do number 3 on your own. I want you to make sure you move the 11 to the other side of the equal sign. Solve it. When you're done, press play on the video and watch how I did it to check your answer. Please pause your video now. Welcome back. Hopefully you got the right answer. So for number 3, what you're going to do is add 11 to both sides because we want everything on the same side of the equal sign. We want it equal to 0. The next thing I do is label my A, my B, and my C. A is 1, B is 8, and C is 11. Now I'm going to plug in using my quadratic formula. Well, it says negative B, which is negative 8, plus or minus. I have the whole square root there. The square root of B squared, which is 8 squared, minus 4, times A, which is 1, and C, which is 11. And that's all going to be over 2 times 1, 2A. That's x equals. There's my first step. Now, I'm just going to take what's under the radical, just the highlighted area, and I'm going to put that in the calculator. So when I rewrite that, I get negative 8 plus or minus the square root. I got 20. All over 2 times 1 is 2. That is in radical form. When I want to find the answers, I'm going to do x equals negative 8 plus the square root of 20 over 2, and x equals negative 8 minus the square root of 20 over 2. I'll put the answers down here in the box because I don't have enough room. When I put that in the calculator, I get negative 1.7639322023. Beautiful long answer. The next one, I get x equals negative, I got 6.23606.7978. Not sure if I'm going to fit it. Nope, so you're good. Now, if they wanted me to round that to the nearest tenth, this would be negative 1.8, and this would be negative 6.2. Either way. So there's the answer now. Please message me with any questions you might have.